A young man emerged with just one idea. No one predicted he would lead millions, but even fewer knew what awaited him at the end of this road. September 10th, 2025, Utah Valley University. When he stepped onto that stage, no one knew this night would change America forever. Charlie Kirk's story begins at the very center of an ideological war. At 18 years old, at an age when most young people were planning their college dreams, filled with uncertainties about the future, Charlie decided to do something completely different. He founded Turning Point USA. His goal was simple but bold: to revive conservative thought on American campuses, to make a voice buried in silence heard again. But why? Why would a young man choose such a difficult and risky path when he could have lived a comfortable life? Charlie was disturbed by something he saw on campuses: the dominance of a single ideology, the dismissal, exclusion, and mockery of conservative thought, free speech working only in favor of one side, and he wanted to change it. His first event was small: a few students, a few posters, a simple booth in a campus corner. But there was a fire in Charlie's eyes, a belief, a sense of mission. He wasn't just talking, he believed. Of course, this wasn't an easy path. Every campus he visited, he faced the same scene: screaming activists, angry protesters, crowds trying to silence him. Some carried signs with heavy accusations written on them. Others just screamed. "Fascist!" they shouted. "Racist!" they yelled. "Shut up already! Get out of here!" they chanted. But Charlie did the same thing every time. He stopped. He picked up the microphone, and with that sparkle in his eyes, he showed that he lived for exactly this moment. Once, he was at UC Berkeley. The crowd was so angry that security had to cancel the event. Police set up barricades, students blocked the streets. There was tension in the air, like a bomb about to explode at any moment. That night, Charlie sat in his hotel room, looking out the window. Groups were still chanting slogans in the street: lights, shouts, chaos, and he just watched. His phone rang. It was his wife, Erica. "Are you okay?" she asked, worry and fear in her voice. "I'm fine," Charlie said calmly. "I'm used to it by now." "Maybe you should take a break for a while," Erica suggested, but Charlie's answer was resolute. No, quite the opposite. I'm going to more campuses," and that's what he did. But each time, the conflict intensified a bit more. In Arizona, a student threw water in his face. In Michigan, microphone cables were cut. In Ohio, a fire alarm was pulled during the event. One day, Charlie was speaking at a campus in Texas. A student came forward from the crowd, young, angry, walking toward Charlie with trembling hands. "You're not welcome here," he shouted. Charlie smiled with that calm and controlled smile of his. "I know, but free speech isn't just for ideas that make you happy." At that moment, the crowd fell silent. That debate went viral. Millions watched it. Some declared Charlie a hero. "Finally, someone is speaking the truth," they said on social media. Others put him on the target board. But the real war wasn't on campuses. It was in the media. CNN, MSNBC, major news channels. They constantly targeted Charlie Kirk. Every word was twisted, taken out of context, every move analyzed, every tweet turned into a scandal. One morning, Charlie was sitting in his studio sipping his coffee while looking at his phone. On the screen were dozens of headlines about him. "Charlie Kirk provokes again," "The controversial leader of Turning Point USA," "The man misleading youth," "Kirk's dangerous rhetoric." He took a deep breath, took another sip of his coffee. His wife Erica sat down next to him, placed her hand on his shoulder. "Are you tired?" Erica asked, concern in her eyes. Charlie looked up at her. "No, we've only just begun." But Erica could see the exhaustion in his eyes, not just physical, but spiritual exhaustion. Constant attacks, constantly being targeted, constantly being in a defensive position. This was slowly consuming a person, wearing them down from the inside. "Charlie, maybe you should slow down a bit," Erica said in a soft but firm voice. "At this pace." "What will happen?" Charlie asked sharply. "Will I quit?" "Isn't that exactly what they want? To wear me down, tire me out, try to make me give up?" "No, but think about your health. Think about your mental health. Think about me." Charlie held Erica's hand, held it tightly. I'm fine. Really. This is my choice. And I will continue to walk this path. Because if I stop, who will continue? Still, he didn't give up. Every week a new campus, a new event, a new debate. But the media pressure was increasing, escalating. On a CNN panel, a commentator said, "Charlie Kirk is poisoning young minds. He's normalizing hate speech, fueling division." Charlie had watched that program. He responded live on Twitter. "Hate speech? I'm just defending free speech. Not every idea you disagree with is hate. This is intellectual terrorism." The tweet went viral instantly. 500,000 likes, 200,000 retweets, but at the same time, 100,000 hate comments. And those comments weren't just criticism, they were threats, real threats. "I hope you'll be silenced one day. Your voice needs to be cut off. You'll pay the price. Wait for September 10th. As Charlie read those comments, he paused for a moment, because these comments weren't just words, they were threats. But you haven't seen the most shocking part yet. The ideological war wasn't staying just with words anymore. Threats started coming. Emails, messages, direct threats on social media. One day will come, you'll be silenced. Your voice will be cut off. Wait for September 10th. Charlie reported these threats to the FBI. Security measures were increased. Metal detectors were placed at events. The number of security personnel doubled. But he still continued to take the stage. Because for him, this wasn't just a job. This was a mission, a life purpose. One evening, Erica asked him, "Aren't you ever afraid?" Charlie remained silent for a long time. He looked out the window. Then he said, "Of course I'm afraid. I'm afraid every day. But if I stay silent out of fear, then they win. And I will not give them that victory. Never." Don't miss the end of this story. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, because what happens on September 10th is coming in a way no one expected. September 10th, 2025. Evening. Charlie Kirk was preparing to take the stage for the Utah leg of the American Comeback Tour. The crowd was full, the hall was packed. Thousands of young people had come to listen to him, to see him. He was making final preparations in the dressing room. He straightened his suit, checked his tie. He tested his microphone. He did final checks with the security team. "Is everything ready?" he asked the security chief. "Yes, sir. We've put everyone through metal detectors. Bags have been checked. Everything is secure." Charlie turned to his assistant. "How many people are out there?" "About 3,000, and they're all eager to see you. The energy is incredible." Charlie smiled. "Great. Then let's take the stage." But before leaving through the backstage door, he paused for a moment. He took a deep breath. He closed his eyes. For a moment, all the noise, all the chaos, all the pressure disappeared. There was only him and his mission. Then his phone rang. It was Erica. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm good. I'm about to go on stage. Be careful, okay?" "Please. I'll be careful as I always am." "Charlie, I love you." There was silence. Charlie felt something in that silence, but he couldn't tell what it was. An uneasiness, a feeling, a premonition. "I love you too," he said slowly. "We'll talk when I get home tonight. I promise." He hung up. He looked in the mirror one last time. He straightened his suit and walked toward the stage. Outside, a young man was waiting. 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson. No one had noticed him. He had gotten lost in the crowd, become invisible. He had passed through metal detectors. His bag had been checked. Everything was normal, nothing suspicious. His hands were in his pockets. His eyes were on the stage. And in those eyes, there was a cold determination. There was a purpose. There was an intent. The stage lights came on, bright and dazzling. Music began to play, energetic and exciting. The announcer picked up the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce you to a legend, a voice that stands before those who try to silence him, the hero of youth, Charlie Kirk." Applause rose. It was a deafening noise. People stood up. The crowd was shouting with enthusiasm, keeping tempo. Charlie walked onto the stage. He waved, smiled, radiated energy. He picked up the microphone. "Utah, how wonderful to see you," he said in an energetic voice. The crowd shouted even more. The tempo increased. "Being here tonight is a great honor for me, because you are America's future. You are the defenders of free thought, and you—" Right at that moment, a sound, a single sound, a sound that silenced the entire crowd, and time stopped. The crowd screamed. Chaos began. People started running, pushing each other. Security guards rushed to the stage. Ambulances were called. Charlie Kirk had been shot once in the neck region on the Utah Valley University stage. He collapsed to the ground. The sound of the microphone falling filled the entire hall. Blood was spreading rapidly on the stage, forming a red pool. Security guards immediately intervened. "Is there a doctor? We need a doctor urgently," they shouted. But everyone was in shock. No one could move. They were frozen. The ambulance arrived within 8 minutes, but it was already too late. Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead when he arrived at the hospital. That night, something broke in America's heart. Tyler James Robinson got lost in the crowd. He tried to throw away his gun and escape, but security cameras had recorded everything, every second, every movement, every detail. The FBI released his photos within 48 hours. A national search was launched. A $100,000 reward was posted. "This man is dangerous. Do not approach. Call immediately." And the first people to see those photos were his own family. Tyler's mother was sitting in front of the television. His father was next to her. They were watching the evening news. The news anchor was showing the suspect photo released by the FBI. The mother looked at the screen. She froze for a moment. Her breath stopped. This is our son," she whispered, her voice trembling. The father looked more closely. His eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. "No, it can't be. Tyler wouldn't do this. Our son wouldn't do something like this." But the photo was clear. It was Tyler. It was their son. They recognized him. The mother started shaking. "What are we going to do? God, what are we going to do?" The father reached for the phone, his hands trembling. "We're going to call the FBI. We have no other choice if it's really him." 2 days later, Tyler surrendered. When FBI agents surrounded his house, he didn't resist. He didn't run. He just raised his hands and said, "I knew I'd be caught." But this had to be done. Someone had to stop him. That sentence shocked all of America, because Tyler wasn't sorry. He believed the murder was justified, believed it was necessary. Charlie Kirk's death wasn't just the loss of one person. This was the most painful price of ideological war. Both sides were shocked. Conservatives had lost their leader. They were mourning. Liberals, on the other hand, said they never wanted this violence. "We just wanted to debate, not kill." But on social media, the war continued. Conspiracy theories began to spread. The incident is fake. Charlie Kirk is still alive. The footage has been manipulated. This is a government operation. Some accounts started sharing evidence, photoshopped photos, false reports, fake CNN headlines. Even artificial intelligence systems got it wrong. Grok and Perplexity initially said, "Charlie Kirk is alive." Then they had to correct it. The war between truth and lies continued even after Charlie's death. A Twitter user wrote, "I don't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. This is staged. The government is manipulating us. Open your eyes." That tweet was shared 50,000 times, got thousands of comments, but Snopes, PolitiFact, FactCheck.org, all fact-checking sites said the same thing. No, Charlie Kirk really died. This conspiracy theory is false. The evidence is clear. Yet the conspiracy theories didn't stop, because some people didn't want to accept the truth, because the truth hurt too much. 11 days later, September 21st, 2025, State Farm Stadium in Arizona, 95,000 people. The stadium was silent. No one was talking. Everyone was looking at the podium. President Donald Trump was on stage. Vice President J.D. Vance was next to him. And at the podium, Erica Kirk stood. She had lost her husband 11 days ago. Now she was speaking for his legacy. "Charlie never bowed to silence," she said in a trembling but determined voice. "Everyone told him to be quiet. the media, activists, even threats, but he never fell silent, because he believed that free speech is not a right, but a responsibility. There were tears in her eyes, but her voice was determined. She had gathered her strength. And I won't bow either. Charlie's legacy will continue to live on with Turning Point USA. His struggle is our struggle. His voice is our voice. The crowd stood up, not applause, but silence, a moment of respect. 95,000 people standing silently at the same time. President Trump approached the podium. He hugged Erica. Then he turned to the microphone. Charlie Kirk wasn't a hero. He was just a person who believed in his ideas. And in America, you shouldn't die for believing in your ideas. This is one of our fundamental values. Because at that moment, everyone understood. Ideological war, no matter how ruthless, can never be won with violence. Charlie Kirk's voice had been cut off by that bullet, but his echo would continue forever. This story isn't just Charlie Kirk's story. This is the story of America's division, the story of a country where two sides shout at each other, try to silence each other. Charlie Kirk was at the forefront of that war. Whether you loved him or not, he defended his ideas. He never backed down. And on September 10th, 2025, he paid the most painful price of that ideological war. Today, Tyler James Robinson is in prison. The death penalty is being sought. The FBI investigation continues. Prosecutors say this was a political assassination, but Tyler still isn't sorry. In his court statement, he said, "He was a dangerous man. He was poisoning youth. Someone had to stop him. And I stopped him." That statement shook America once again, because Tyler saw himself not as a murderer, but as a hero. He believed he was a savior. This is the most terrifying aspect of ideological war. Both sides believe so strongly that they're right that even violence can become legitimate. But the real question is, what did we learn from this war? Or are we still continuing the same conflict? Charlie Kirk is dead, but the ideological war continues, on campuses, on social media, on television, everywhere. Both sides are still shouting at each other, still trying to silence each other, and maybe one day there will be another Charlie Kirk, and maybe another Tyler James Robinson. To break this cycle, maybe we all need to stop. Maybe we need to listen to each other, because ideological war, in the end, makes everyone lose. Charlie Kirk's story is over, but the ideological war continues. Which side are you on? Or do we have to pick a side? To answer this question, subscribe. In the next video, we'll dive into the depths of Tyler James Robinson's mind, because what's truly terrifying is why he did this. How does a 22-year-old young man turn into a murderer? The answer to that question will shock us all. If you like this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and turn on notifications for the next deep dive. Because Tyler James Robinson's story is even darker than Charlie's. See you next time.